What is going on, guys? Welcome back. So many of you know by now more than 2 videos in a day. One of them is going to be an investing video. I'm also a Webull preferred influencer. I know you've seen the links in the pinned comments. I know you've seen the community tab. Guys, I'm doing it with a purpose. Listen, they are giving you the opportunity to win a share of Microsoft. I can't understate this enough. One person back when I was with Robinhood got a share of Microsoft. It is a portfolio changer. You don't have to deposit a dime to do this. And I'll tell you, Microsoft as a gamer is a pretty cool stock to own. It's a juggernaut, guys. Literally. I mean, this is a company. Look at this growth, 405% over the past 5 years. They pay a dividend. Yeah, it's a small dividend, but most tech companies don't. And really, just a company you can be proud to own. I know Sony's in there too, but listen, at the same time, Microsoft is just a value of a tech company. Now, let's talk about dividends because I had kind of a moment of clarity when looking at my account. We're coming up on the 1 year mark. I'm going to do a 1 year video on the Webull account. I think you guys are going to be pretty happy with the way things, I know I am, have turned out. But I realized, what I was doing was really making like a mini me of my Robinhood account. My Robinhood account now right up to about $40,000. Last thing I wanted was this little miniature $4,000 account mirroring it. And I had to really sit down and spend a lot of time. And I did spend a lot of time thinking about how I was going to change this account around and do something a little bit risky. And I thought to myself, the first thing I need to do is kind of get this into a position where I can reinvest these dividends and get something tangible. And to do that, I felt I needed about another $10 per month. And I thought about ways to do that, and I actually had to sell some shares to do it. And I'll tell you right now, I've thought about selling that share of Tesla, but I've went back and forth, and the more it gets red, the more I miss the opportunity, I think, to sell it and maybe buy back in if it gets any lower. But you can see QYLD, Q yield, as some people like to refer to it as, top of the list, biggest holding. Hopefully Tesla can rebound and change that. But if not, it's clearly top 1 or 2 for the foreseeable future. I had to sell a share of Teradyne. I had to sell my shares of QCLN to do this, and I'm comfortable with that. I really am. I need to get this up to about 56 shares, and I hope to do that relatively soon, because what this is going to do is afford me that opportunity to buy another share of it just about every month. Now, this is a ETF that sells covered calls on the NASDAQ, something I really don't interest myself in doing. I know a lot of people make a lot of money with covered calls, but it's just not something I like to do myself because, number one, once I've accumulated 100 shares of something, I feel like I've achieved something. And I just don't want to give that away, even if there is a monetary value. So this shields me from the hard work, if you will. Number two, it's paying most of this dividend back as a return of capital, which is easier on my taxes that I just filed. And you can see a very respectable 12% yield. So if I can get that dividend income up to buy another share of this each month, it literally is like giving yourself a $2.75 raise every single month for the year. But I also want to look at this. This is Nationwide. Obviously, Nationwide. Everyone does. I'm not going to sing the jingle, but as a Colts fan, I have a fond place in my heart for a company that hires Peyton Manning as a spokesperson, right? They have an ETF here, and I mean, this thing, when you talk about risk, it is super young in the game. This ETF has only been around for really about 1.5 to 2 years. I don't know if they want to call this Nussie, but I know a lot of people do. It's kind of a funny name for it. This is a risk-managed ETF that does the same thing, but essentially is actively managed to hold half and then control the sell of the others. So you should, in theory, see significantly less of a dividend on this, but have a little bit more growth in the account. And obviously, when you're buying shares of Tesla and they're dropping $180, $200 in value, one of the things I felt like I really needed was some stability in this account. And I feel like with the mixture of these two, it's going to give me that ability. The dividend income to go out and buy another share, know that hopefully every single month I'm going to compound that interest, build that dividend snowball, and then at some point start to transition over into another ETF that's going to give me some of the rising account value. Now, that concept could change because I'll tell you right now, if I'm getting $25, $30 a month in this account, it really does open the door for a lot of different opportunities. If I want to buy a SPAC or three, if I want to go and take a look at my positions, most of them, not all, but I would say probably 80% of the portfolio at this point can probably be repurchased at a share of under $30. You know, you have some outliers like Kroger where, yeah, maybe I have to wait a month or two, but it would really allow me to start to build out those smaller positions. Or if a position were to fall back and have a bit of a dip, leave me in a better spot to capitalize on that. Right now, that's one of the things with such a small dividend income I'm really not in position to do. If there's a pullback in a stock, I really can't do anything about it except hope that it recovers slow. And with that amount of money coming in, it gives me that freedom. So it is going to be probably a 2 to 3 month proposition to transition over. But once I do this, you know, the other side of this, as I mentioned to you, is this is a very, very stark contrast from what I'm doing in my Robinhood account, which is, you know, anchored on growth stocks and some dividend payers, but nothing like this. I mean, this is risk personified, but I feel comfortable taking the risk. It is essentially a free account that I've been able to build up over the course of the last year. And hey, if I can turn it into what I like refer to as a money machine, a whole portfolio that actually makes money and then regenerates itself, I can't be too upset about that. If it doesn't work out, then I'll be thankful I haven't done this on my larger account. But I don't think I would ever do anything like this unless I had a lot of time seeing the process work. And I understand there's people that retire with QYLD, that retire with NUSI and use that dividend income to live off of. And I feel like if that's something I'm going to do, which hopefully I am, because, you know, I've really not been shy about saying it. I want to retire in the next 9 to 10 years. And it's going to take, you know, $250,000, $300,000 to get there. And at this given rate, I'll be there probably, if we continue this pace, within the next 5 to 7. But if I'm going to live off these dividend payments, then I need to see stability back behind it. And one of the only ways I'm going to do that is experiencing it. And this is going to be the way I experience it. I put a lot of money into really decent quality dividend payers like, you know, Johnson & Johnson, Realty Income, Stag Industrial, but they pay at such a slow rate. It would take more money than I feel like I would ever have in the planet to live off those. So getting this dividend income up in this smaller account, seeing how it handles kind of that money machine, as I like to call it, is really going to be paramount to changing my life going forward and understanding what I'm comfortable with. And certainly I felt like that was the right direction to go in, as opposed to just, you know, cloning in a smaller version what my other account was. Love to know your guys' thoughts on this. If you experience doing something like this, how has it went for you? Would you do it again? Are you doing it now? You know, we're here to learn from each other, and you guys know I will be back building this money machine piece by piece in the week with more commentary.